What if I told you the secret to $1 million business is less about what you sell and more about serving? A lot of people have great services, but they don't have great service. There's a difference in the value that you offer in your service, and there's a difference in $1,000 offer and $100,000 offer, and the difference in the value. I'm going to show you how service is your pathway to millions. Let's jump into it. Let's look at this verse real quick. Proverbs 22:29. Do you see someone skilled in their work? They will serve before kings. They will not serve before officials of low rank. So what is this verse telling us? This verse is telling us in the Hebrew language, and I'm going to show you letter by letter here in just a second, that if you serve, the better you serve, the more people you serve, the more you can elevate. Shannon Sharp had a great quote. I was watching him the other day, and one thing that I saw him say was, people will argue about how much NFL players make, but think about this. How many people do NFL players serve? If you know anything about the NFL, you'll know the Super Bowl is the most watched event in the world. There's, I believe, around 300 or so plus million people who watch the Super Bowl at one time. So what does that mean? It means that the NFL players are serving 300 plus million people. So how much money they make is equivalent to the amount of people they serve. Because without the players, you don't have the NFL. Without their skills, you don't have the attraction for people to watch. So understand, the more people you serve, the more money, the more wealth you're going to accumulate. It's just a natural law of how God has created business. Now let's jump in and go over this word āmad, and I'm going to show you Hebrew letter at a time how this word breaks down and shows us that as you serve, wealth will flow more into your life. Now, I know people think this may be some kind of prosperity, but it's not. It doesn't mean that everybody's going to become a millionaire, but I guarantee you, beyond the shadow of a doubt, the more you serve people and the better you serve them and the higher level you serve them, and that's what this verse shows us, the more money you're going to make, because disservice is something of Satan's kingdom, and not providing good service is not the excellence that God asks us to put into the marketplace. So let's dive in. Let's go over it. All right. This is the Hebrew letter āmad, which means to serve. And we're going to break down each letter. I'm going to show you how this letter shows us that service is the pathway to millions. So this first letter here is Ayin. The second letter here is Mem. And then the final letter here is Dalet. We're going to break down each letter, and I'm going to show you, this is so amazing, how these letters are connected and how each of their meanings flow into the next to give you the bigger picture. And Hebrew is a Semitic language. That means that it is read from right to left. And so when you're looking at this, just think counter opposite for all of you Americans of how you read a word. Let's dive in to the first letter. So this is Ayin. And what this symbolizes in the context of where it is in the letter is that there is a recognition that a person has to have to be in the realm of a king. And in this position, that when it refers to kings, the verse in Proverbs 22:29, it's talking about somebody of power, of high position. So if you think of yourself in a business, that means that could be that you are serving somebody who, let's just say they're a Fortune 500 company, or they have a big business, or they're somebody of power. God's put you in a place to serve that person of power. So the Ayin in this context, the top here, and this is the more modern version of the letter, but there's two yods here, and those two yods, what they do is they come down into and they connect into what rabbis would refer to as the brainstem. So these are like the eyes, and this comes down and connects into the brainstem. So you see what you need to know, and then that information is processed and revealed. In overviewing again in the context, what it means, it's vision, insight. This is suggests a perceiving or understanding one's position and purpose. In the context of āmad, it could symbolize the insight and awareness required to serve effectively, and to stand in the presence of greatness. All right, that's just the first letter. All right, the next letter is the mem. The mem is very associated with and represents water in that it's fluid, it's adaptable. That's one of the key things we know. If you are great at service, you're going to be fluid and adaptable. If you notice too, there's an opening here. That opening shows that there's an entrance, but there's also a way out. So meaning that there is a place to be, there is a place of wisdom, but you can and sometimes need to move out of that. You need to be adaptable into the situations that you are in business. So mem is water, flow, abundance. Its meaning and context, it represents depth, wisdom, and the flow of life. In āmad, it might signify the fluidity and adaptability required to excel and be positioned to serve before kings. It also points to diligence and perseverance needed to develop skill. The third and final letter is the Dalet. So the Dalet has many different meanings. In this context, it represents a doorway, a pathway. So if you look at this, you can kind of symbolize and see there's a doorway here. This doorway is the pathway to opportunity. It also represents in its broader context because it is the letter that follows the Gimel, and the Gimel is the righteous one. It represents a bowing over to the righteous one, that righteous one representing primarily Jesus Christ, and that in humility, the Dalet bows over in worship and service to Jesus Christ. So why is that important? Because if we think of our doorways, our pathways to opportunity, those come from humility and service. The Dalet, its symbolism is a door, pathway, or opportunity. Its meaning and context that denotes access or entry to new realms. In āmad, it reflects the opportunities that arise when one becomes skilled enough to stand before kings, symbolizing the opening of doors to positions of honor and influence. Let's put all three of these letters together now. All right, so breaking down each letter here, let's look at how all of these letters connect. So starting with the Ayin. As you can see, the Ayin has vision. It connects into. You cannot be of great service if you're not connected into what is going on. In the mem, we see that you need to be fluid. You need to be adaptable, right? This letter represents water. You need to be active and engaged. Coming back to the Ayin, you need to see what your clients want. And then from there, in finality, having the humility to look for what your clients need and then to serve that need with fluidity, that is going to open doors of service for you because it's going to elevate you. It's going to elevate you above others because believe me, the level of service that most people give is a low standard. You don't have far to go. So breaking this down, just look at how amazing that is, that your vision, you focused on being fluid and adaptable to your clients' needs, that is going to open new doors in your business for you. And it's going to allow you, not only in the context of this, to serve at new levels. Look at how amazing that is, what we just went over. That if you keep your eyes and your mind focused on being adaptable and fluid with your clients, it's only going to open more doors for you to serve at higher levels. That's going to elevate your skills, and I guarantee you it's going to help you pay your bills. There's nothing better than you can do than to provide your clients excellent service. Look at this language, Hebrew, and look at the insights that it's given us today. I hope that it's been a blessing to you. You have a blessed day. It's Caleb Nation from Nation Media Design, and see ya.